Siddharam everybody, and welcome to Satsang tonight, our second night of our Kartik Mass, or the month of Kartik, Yagna. Last night we started and we entered into Skand Puran in the section that is referred to as Kartik Mass Mahatyam, and we started to discuss about the value of Kartik, and we are going to continue tonight. In tonight's discourse, we are going to touch primarily, I'm reading from Srimad Bhagavad Puran, but because of where our discourse will go, we are also touching on the Kalika Upa Puran, Skand Puran, and to answer one reference last night, I am touching on one little thing from Devi Bhagavad Puran. So, just a little insight for where we're going. Welcome to those that are joining our Yagya at this time. I'm asking everybody, please leave your comments, click like. More likes I get, more it's going to share on Facebook. That's just how they make their thing. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. Click the like button there as well. Leave a comment on the video. For those of you that have your questions, feel free to send in your questions, your comments. And tonight as well, we are going to deal with some, which is more or less why I have the Devi Bhagavad with me tonight, to deal with some of the questions that did come in, one or two at least. So in the course of the Yagya, as it applies to the discourse, I'm going to answer those, right? So many things to do tonight. As we get set, let's begin with prayer, simple prayer. As we concentrate our mind, calmly, focus. Do you remember the days when we used to have Sada Satsang? Do you remember, especially for those that have the knowledge of how Satsang used to be in times gone by yesteryear? Satsang used to be and should be, as described in our text, as a time when we spend discussing goodly and godly things, allowing the individual that is listening and learning to make that connection, to make that bridge with God. It is not a time to spend socializing, gossiping. It is not a party. It is not a time to raise the blood pressure, but it is a time to send down the blood pressure via breathing habit, control of the breath, control of the thought, even as applying Chandan. If my body temperature is shooting up, if I'm sweating, if I'm clapping and I am reveling, how will the Chandan not run off your Baba for it? This is a time where you are making that bridge, that link to your God. We are very busy people. And the time that comes or that is set aside for this type of meditation, this type of sadhana, this type of prayer, it isn't every day, it isn't every moment, obviously. So this is a form of dhyan, this is a form of dan. Dhyan is a form of meditation. Dan is a form of gift. What am I offering to the God? Firstly, my very valuable time. Dear God, tonight as I sit here praying with you, I'm listening to Pandit in the comfort of my home or wherever you might be. As I learn about you, dear Lord, as I understand you, your words, your teachings, your forms, as tonight we'll hear about your name as well. Help me envisage you better and better. If I don't know who you are, how will I see you in my mind? How will I encapsulate you in my heart in the form of emotion or prayer? Who do I talk to if I'm talking to a stranger? I don't even know your name. I don't know what your name means. Think about what I'm saying, everybody, sitting where you are. There are many Hindu people banter about the names of God, the practices of our prayer. But the level of ignorance is remarkable. Ignorance meaning I don't know. Darkness. Not arrogance. Ignorance. I don't know. Tonight, as we encounter another night of Gyan Yagna, dear Lord, Ganesh Baba, by your grace, we are here again. And we are doing your worship by simply, Shabri and Sri Ram has a discourse and they talk about the 9 forms of devotion. One form is to listen. One form is to think about God. And that in itself is puja. I love to watch. I love to go to the temple and see the murti. I love to sit with my phone and watch satsang. I enjoy it. I find love. I find happiness in it. That is devotion. When last night we heard, once it is done with devotion, like when we were talking about the holy bath and other things, it brings about help, betterment, change in a person's life. Ganesh Baba, tonight, collectively, we ask you for that betterment, that change. Let's pray together, everybody. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapeta Jumbo
Palachara Bhakshitam
Uma Sutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Veganeshwara
Padapankajam
Sarvamangalamangaliye
Shive Sarvata Sadhike
Sharanye
Trayambike Gauri
Narayani
Namostute
Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatakripa Tamaham Bande
Paramanandam Madhavam.
Together, everybody. Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki
Jai.
Jai. Tonight, as we continue in our discourses, geared towards helping everybody understand this month of Kartik. Pandit, why are you doing this Yagna? Me and the team here tonight. As we get into our discourse, we remember what Bhagavad Gita says. Demonic people never know what is the right action to be done, and they never know what is the action to be abstained from. If we as a people, as a family, have to improve, when we pray for betterment, betterment begins with yourself. Betterment begins with the effort that we put in life, the karma, the good that we do from time to time. But suppose, according to the guiding text of the Bhagavad Gita, I always miss the boat. I always miss the opportunity to do the right thing. And this is where he sets the stage now. He says, when a person is doing, let's say, devotion, a person is doing what they are guided to do, that's good, very good. But better than doing is to have the knowledge about why you are doing it. See yourself tonight as we're about to begin our conversation. If I was the Pandit and you are the Shrota by the Bedi, and I hand you any particular item to offer in the puja, please offer this to Lord Krishna tonight. See yourself having a tree, having a terrier, having something. I don't know what this is. I don't know what is the purpose of this, to offer this to the Lord. I don't know what this will yield. For children to understand, the yellow powder, the red powder, what's the big fuss about flowers and the scent of the flowers? The particular prasad that you create, the last time I mentioned prasad, there's a rule. When he says sattvic food is fresh food, it means it is created 1 pahar before it is offered. Meaning 3 hours before the prayers, it is made. It's not microwaved. As he says, tamasic food, stale food, spoiled food, preserved food. So for those people who asked last night, what about kuchila? Isn't preserves something that is, preserved from spoiling because of oil and other methods that we have today? Meaning those things are not suitable to be offered. Answer that question. Sattvic food is fresh food, things that are created wholly and solely for the offering. Some people ask the question, Babs, should I offer salt food to Lord Krishna? Everything that is sattvic is offered to Lord Krishna. But kuchila and those things that burn, things that are bitter, putrid, those things are not sattvic. So sometimes the things that we create for the puja are not as suitable. Consider that. Somebody told me, Baba, what do we make for prayers and what do we not make for prayers? I'm just showing you the knowledge. When you're fasting for Diwali, most people fast from meat and from alcohol. And we'll hear more about that tonight. Do you know when you are doing Devi Bhagwat Yagya, Navratri Brat, we're supposed to fast from pumpkin as well? For her puja, during this time, bring jal or eggplant, baigan. It's something because of a chemical inside it that causes the heart to race. Just as how you would be accustomed. The brothers and sisters from the Hare Krishna ISKCON society, they fast, permanently fast from things like garlic and onion because of the chemical changes that this will do to the body. For one example, it makes a person lusty when they're supposed to have control in their mind. It is known in today's world when people go to the doctor and they want to have kids, one of the things the doctor says is eat more onion. That is supported by today's science. So the logic of the fasting person, abstain from these things that cause a change in my hormones or my behavior, allow me to be more balanced, equilibrium to be possible, so that I could do my puja and then get the outcome of doing it properly. But suppose I don't have the knowledge of what to eat, what not to eat, how to fast, how to prepare. Then I might be doing puja, Baba, yagya after yagya. I've done 9 yagya in the last 9 years. How much blessing, how much benefit, how much reward, how much change, better change are you seeing in your life? Last time we touched on a topic where things could get worse because of the lack of action. Where a person has been born in this human body and they do not even a small iota, a small morsel amount of good in this month. So tonight, we're going to talk about things to do in Kartik, to touch on it as we continue in our conversation. We're going to talk about one name of Lord Krishna, as you will hear it mentioned. And then we'll talk about, tonight my focus is the day before Diwali. In the calendar, you'll see Narak or Naraka Chaturdasi. That is the name of that day. And on that day, we have the habit of lighting a diya, but not many people know why we light this diya whatsoever. In this yagya, I'm going to explain why we light diyas for Diwali. What's the importance of that? And as we stay together in this time, bear with me. My objective is to give you the knowledge so that as you go closer to your God, as you understand little mouthfuls, little tidbits to whet your appetite. I want to know more. Why? Why? You know, I never thought about that, Baba. There's a big fixation in this Hindu thing about lighting deer, but I don't know why we light a deer. Everybody likes deers, but why? That's to put a thought in your mind. Tonight, as we enter into it, and as I said, we have some questions. I jotted down a few. And in the course of tonight, we're going to answer these questions. At the end of our discourse tonight, I'll deal with the Devi Bhagavad. Well, many people, I said I'm looking for people to teach the Jari and teach the now part, now part. And I got a lot of response, people local and abroad, that want to follow up. Some people, let me be very clear, some people treat this as if it is a national secret. And I, on the other hand, want to share it like sliced bread, like it was common bread. Because if we die with the knowledge, then that passage, that part dies with us. So I want to be clear. I believe knowledge is something that should be shared. Once you have the right attitude and you're ready to do all the required, you know, like in the case of chanting the mantra, fasting on certain days, to do prayer, in some instances, depending on what you want to learn, I'm being honest, you might have to be vegetarian. It's not like your pundit could eat meat and come and do your puja. So depending on how deep you want to go, it depends on the lifestyle you want to live at the same time. But there are many levels, many levels. I teach mothers, young mothers, how to jari so that at least they could help their children 3 o'clock in the morning when there's a difficulty, there's a problem. So we'll get to that. Tonight, let us begin with a section from Skand Puran dealing with things to do in Kartik. Let's join together as we enter into this verse. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, 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 Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Rishiya Vacha Sutji Ye Na Ye Loga कार्तिक मास महात्यम तम स्नानम चोहा ये ऋषिगुण श्री मुक्त ये प्रशान्याते जय भोले बाबा तब शरणम जय भोले बाबा तब शरणम जय भोले बाबा तब शरणम जय सांब सदा शिव तब शरणम सांब सदा शिव तब शरणम उमापति महादेव की जय. So in this section here where we enter in, I'm reading from Skand Puran, chapter 6 of the Kartik Mas Mahatyam. It is a conversation, this entire Mahatyam, between Lord Brahma and his son Narad Muni. So as we enter here, Narad Muni says, could you please tell me what is to be done? What are the things to be done in this month of Kartik? What could people do in this month of Kartik? So last time we spoke about fasting. Last time we mentioned things to stay away from. Just to recap, it mentions here stale food, burnt food, mansuri dal, liquor, alcohol, mushrooms. Mushrooms are that type of life, that type of fungus something to abstain from. Food where children are now born, polluted because of that assault, where what we call the, the Shraddh ceremony, what we call locally Bandara, is not done yet. Funeral is now done. That type of food, that is to be abstained from. Narad Muni says, could you please tell to me, what could a person do during this time? The first thing he says, a person is supposed to get up early. Brahma says, Narad Muni, a person is supposed to get up Brahm Muhurat before the sun has risen, and get up and have your cleansing regimen, your bathing regimen, normal bath, in preparation for worship for your day. Second thing, adorn your body with gopi chandan, or that type of chandan that is made. If you go to the puja store and you see gopi chandan being advertised, this is simply white chandan like what we see in Trinidad, but it is made from the dirt of Dwarka. It is a different, sometimes it is creamy when you mix it. For those of you that use chandan a lot, you know what I'm talking about. Cows could be done, could be given in dan. Gifts of vegetables, gifts of planting fruit in particular. These things are used in worship to Mahavishnu. So if you go, for example, like this year, I am doing small groups for Diwali worship where we are doing Vaibhava Lakshmi Puja to help business people, people who are in danger of losing jobs, people who have things to pray for, people who would like to do worship on Diwali day. Please message me if you would like to be part of it. On that day, people offer different vegetables to Mother, to Lord Vishnu, one of which planted. People who offer the gift of a shaligram to a pandit so that he would be able to worship it. And then to share when we take, remember we spoke about Panchamrit being converted to Charan Amrit. Charan Amrit means the charan is the foot from the ankle going to the toes. That portion of your body is labeled as charan. And the washing of the feet of Lord Vishnu from the form of the shaligram brings about blessings, upliftment, etc. So if you could help the Baba help other people, this is something that is given so much, giving so much blessing. It says that Brahma himself cannot finish describe what this will do for you. The person who worships the goddess Lakshmi and the person who is considered to be Lakshmi Pati, Vishnu's puja during this time, there's no doubt that they get a lot of blessing. During this time, the person who worships Tulsi Mata and the person who gives Tulsi leaves to Lord Vishnu, such a person gains a great amount of blessing. The person who offers white flowers, there are many examples of that. White flowers that have a sweet scent, chameli, rose, all these things. I'm sure somebody could give me an example of a white flower that has nectar in it, nectar, the content of the flower. In some instances, this is where jasmine flower is used as well. Ladies of the night, locally we call it, and other varieties that are available. These sweet smelling flowers are used particular to worship Lord Vishnu. And what is the benefit? One of it is Parijat. Maybe tomorrow night when we are doing the Lakshmi discourse, I'll explain Parijat flower to you. But it says when a person should use the appropriate flower, color, white, scent, strong, beautiful, nice scent, the person is as if he had done 1,000 births of worship to Lord Vishnu. So powerful, a gift of that type of flower during this time, this month. So imagine I'm doing worship by the Murti, the Pitye, or even offering Dar. The person who makes a gift of a sank during this time to temple where it would be used by a Murti or to the Baba, the sins that a person have committed in boyhood or girlhood, childhood days, those sins are washed away. If a person during this time regularly, happily reads the Bhagavad Gita, that person becomes a friend, and that friend becomes very close to him. That friend is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna becomes very able and capable to come into his mind. We'll do more on that just now. The person who reads from or listens to the Srimad Bhagavat Puran gains liberation from various types of sins when read or listened to during this month of Kartik. That person who in this month does special observation of the Ekadasi Brat, abstaining from not only grains and so on, but abstaining from all forms of food, is liberated from sins committed in previous birth. The person who accepts prasad in this month, just accepting the prasad, meaning what is offered by the shaligram, which puja, if your pandit comes home, does your pandit bring the shaligram? The shaligram is that stone, that is that living form of Lord Vishnu. If that is not in your prayer is incomplete. If your Baba does not have a shaligram and you and your Baba are very close, my advice to you is, based on what you just heard, use it as an opportunity. Baba, I'd like to buy something for you. I would like to give something to you. Maybe after the puja, I would like to make a gift of a shaligram for you. Please use it. Please have it. So that when you go to people's homes and you're worshiping, maybe I'll get a little morsel of blessing. When the prasad, let's say the sweet rice, let's say the manbhog, the fruits are offered to the shaligram in the course of the puja, and then some goes back to mix with the bulk to share for everybody, what we call prasad, which is something that is offered to God. Then, oh boy, just by receiving that prasad, do you know how to receive prasad? Prasad being that which is offered to God, being blessed by God, touch their head, touch their heart, and then you open your little parcel, whether it's plenty or a little bit, and you share for everybody before start the sermon. Before we even think to juta it, before we even think to put it to our own mouth, always make sure, Diwali is coming, so I'm telling you, make sure and share your prasad. By sharing your blessing, you get great amounts of blessings. A man who rings the bell at the time of worship, that person brings great happiness and satisfaction to Lord Vishnu. And for this reason, it is something like a task that is sought after when puja is going to be done. Baba, what you're talking about? What blessing? If you have a prayer room, when you're looking at your Indian movies and your ZTV, notice that a part of your prayer, a part of the things you need in your prayer is a little bell at least. When we used to go prayers long time, I don't know about you, I don't know if somebody could leave me a message, tell me. Do you remember as a child rushing, Baba, I want to hit the ganta. Baba, I want to be the one to hit it. And this is where it comes from. The Pandit is sharing an opportunity with you to get your blessing. Lord Vishnu enjoys that sound of prayer while that light, that diya, again the diya. Why this diya? The person who rings that bell, I'm saying bell, but I also could be meaning ganta, as we say locally in Trinidad. But the person who goes and hits that ganta, do you know you are getting blessing? Because of the strain, the weight, the exertion that you are giving. For who? For God? For the prayers? For the puja? For the happiness? For the signaling of the Devta? I am exerting that energy there. You know, Baba, this ganta so heavy, yes, like gantana, man. There I get blessings when I do that. It says here further, feed your family with devotion and love. For all the mothers out there, for these people that are living in remote places, for those people that are living in where there's lockdowns and restrictions. Maybe I can't reach to the temple. Maybe I can't hold the Ganda of Pt.Keshava or any one of the other Pandits. But here now, Brahma says, feed your family with love. Don't grumble. The day you have to feed them, trust me, it will be a different sentiment. Suppose that you don't have the material. Maybe I don't have the money. Baba, I can't afford. I can't afford to do the prayer, so I don't want to do the prayer. No argument. When you could afford it, you would do it. But suppose I still want to pray. What could I do? Satya Vrat. Learn to fast from lies. Let your prayer be a vrat where I'm going to speak the truth. In preparation for Diwali and other things. During this month of Kartik, I'm not going to lie. I can't afford to do anything else. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful. And that brings a lot of blessing. There are many people who do the wonderful prayers, but they lie consistently. I don't know how much blessing they're going to get for that. He says, in this time, you be hospitable to people who are tired. Have patience with people. Offer them a seat, offer them something to drink. Those things could be done in this time. And you don't know which form God will come in. And believe it or not, that simple act will bring a lot of benefit. There's a right call, a practice call, go Rashtra. Go Rashtra, go Rashtra, go Rashtra. And what this fancy word means, take a portion of your food and feed a cow. Take some grass and feed a cow. Last time we talked about the washing of the hoof of the cow, and you see people doing it when they're doing Gaudan. They wash the hoof of the cow and they pass it on their head. Now, feeding the cow during the month of Kartik brings about a lot of blessings. If in the month of Kartik a person can sweep the temple in the morning time where there's a Vishnu Murti or a Shaligram, that person will one day, when this life leaves the body, that person is going straight to Vaikuntha. If a person wishes to give something in Dan, the temple or the Pandit, they could give firewood or timber, coals, things that could be used so that the Baba, the Guru, could use to do his Havan. All these are examples of things that could be done. Little gifts, little charities. And what is the benefit, he says? He says, Damodar will be very happy with you. He makes an exclamation here in verse 24 of chapter 6 in this Mahatyam. He says, you will gain by doing all these things, doing these different types of sacrifice and gift giving. You will gain the blessings of Damodara. So, Baba, who is that? Damodara is, as you will learn tonight by our discourse, is one of the names of Krishna. Krishna has many names, and for those of you that are the devotees of Kanha, Lord Krishna, we must become knowledgeable about the name of God. By simply knowing the names you are chanting. Remember, last night in one section, it says, chant the name of God. Govinda Bolo, Hari Gopala Bolo. Many people chant these things, these little chants. You hear it in the radio, you hear it on YouTube, you're singing. I'll send it out on a group. Amrish Ramsundar from Maryland, he did a wonderful mix of bhajans. And he sent it to me on WhatsApp. And I'll send it out to the group if you would like to have it, because I'm telling you, it's worth it. Constant play, and you could play it on any device. With all the songs and beautiful songs that we'll be playing for Diwali. If somebody says, do you know how Lord Krishna got the name Govind? Did you know it was from Indra when he lifts the Govardhan mountain? No, Baba, I didn't know that. Here now, tonight at this time, we've just heard Damodar. That is another form of Krishna. But what does it mean? There's a wonderful meaning. We just heard that if we listen to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Purana, I'm going to get blessings. Join your hands. As I shared before I started the Damodar Ashtakam on Facebook and to the group on WhatsApp. Dharma refers to the cord, the rope. Udhara, it means the waist. The person who has the cord around his waist. Baba, what are you talking about? Damodara refers, as it is one of the names of this month, what we call Kartik Mas. In a different text, it is referred to as Damodara Mas. Damodara is referred to that little form of Bal Gopal Krishna Bhagwan. It is said that in this month, this is the time when Yashoda Mata takes the cord, the rope, and she is tying that belly. And hence this Ashtakam praises him in that way. If you missed it, if you're now joining us, Sitaram again, welcome to the satsang. My volume is starting to go up because I love Krishna and I get very passionate. So, Mommy Baba done watch me already. Damodara, listening to the history of our Lord. I invite you all. I did one where you had a good, very clear definition. I have it here with me. Please join your hands and we'll do a couple of verses. Just one or two. Bear with me. Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupaya Lasha Kundalam Gokula Brajamanaha Yashoda Biyolo Kakala Davanam Paramrita Snanam Mayantu Dre Gopaya. Oh Prabhu, with those beautiful earrings, oh you who had manifested yourself in Gokul, you who stole all the butter and kept the gopis, all the gopas, the boys are with you and the gopis are complaining about you to Mother Yashoda. And Yashoda that day caught hold of you, Damodara. I offer my humble obeisances, I bow to you. Rudantam mayuram netra yuga mrijantam karamboja yogya me santana netra mahoswa kampa tiranka katha stita grivam damodara bhakti vandana. Upon seeing Mayashoda's whipping stick, he starts to cry and rub his eyes with those little lotus hands. His eyes were fearful. His breathing quickened. Yashoda Mata brings the rope, and as he is shivering in fear, his little pearl necklace around his neck shakes with him. The Supreme Lord, O Damodara, I bow to you. When you get your copy, you read this prayer and understand the value of knowing the power of your Krishna. We could spend the entire night going through this alone. In the 7th verse, no, in the 8th verse, the entire universe was created by Brahma. That Brahma, the lotus flower, is born from your belly. There's a Muni, I'll do the discourse for you. He's born, he's like a grandson to Brahma. And he had a long life and he didn't know. It is described what happens at the end of Kali Yuga. and he was absorbed into the mouth as Lord Vishnu is pulling back this entire universe, and everything went into the mouth of Mahavishnu, Mahapralaya, where he pulls back everything. He's getting ready to recycle the energies and the forms of this universe. This Muni was able to stay separate, conscious, in the belly of Mahavishnu. And he describes the sights, the sounds. And in here, in this 8th verse, he says the entire universe is created in the belly of Lord Vishnu. But the love of Yashoda Mata, the love of that lady, the love of that mother, she's able to take the rope, or Dhamma, and she ties that belly. Who could tie that belly? Who could hold you? Who could control you? O Dhammo Dada. Vindravan Liyadilala ki Jai. I love that Ashtakam, so I put it there for you. Please make time to read it and use it in your prayer. Let us become more educated about our God, about our prayer. And when those tears start to flow from your face, when you hear of Kanha and his many leelas, then you will know what it is to have that bhav, that love, that rest for the Lord. That when you get the opportunity, like what we said in Kartik, in that discourse in Skand Puran, what you could do. Baba, this year I want to do this. Remember, years ago we did not know about Makar Sankranti. And then people heard Gayatri Jap. Then people heard bathe with mustard seed. Give mustard, not mustard seed, sorry. Sesame seed, black till, white till, brown till. Many people would do it. And then many people didn't know why they were doing it. And then they heard about the discourse of Lord Vishnu sweating. And why we use till in our puja, till in tarpan, till in the food, till in the siddha, till in the charity, till everywhere is till. Like this is a spiritual journey. You are hearing, and God is opening something in your heart. Not everybody has that. For those of you looking on, do you think everybody has the feelings, the emotions that you have? No. That is what makes you unique. Because when you want to know more about your Lord, that is a form of bhakti. And not everybody has devotion. That is a blessing earned by your good karma. I want to do better next year, Kartik Baba. I want to do more. I want to learn more. I've heard of this. I don't know much. I've heard of that. And you become as if you are Narad Muni. Narad Muni is always asking a question. He never professes to know anything. And in asking the questions, in absorbing the answers, and deciphering the meaning, Narad Muni is able to traverse this universe. And God bless you, that you will have likewise blessings when he talks about going to Vaikuntha to live. When he talks about the blessings of an individual. As we continue tonight, we move now. Skand Puran, Narak Chaturdasi is given in the discourse explaining Narak Chaturdasi. In Skand Puran, the breakdown, what to do, what not to do, is given in Skand Puran in the Kartik Mas Mahatyam chapter 9. This here now is a conversation between Lord Krishna and Yudhishthira. And he wants to know what is the appropriate things to be done on this day. Let us start here and then we will go to the history. This is the day when we are lighting what we call Yamdeep. Many people think, Baba, when you light that Yamdeep, somebody says, I hear, just so to tell me, I hear you're calling the dead man by your house. I don't know dead people come here. So you see that, Baba, me are doing that. Ignorance. I don't know any more deadly part. I do not want to know. That means if you don't know better, If I'm standard 5 and I don't want to know better, if I'm in 6th grade and I do want to know better, I don't want to know more maths or more science, how am I going to go to Form 1 or 7th grade? How am I going to get a college degree? How am I going to move up in life? How am I going to move up with my soul? When you limit yourself. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, there's a verse, he says, you become your own enemy and you are your own friend. That is a true statement. I was speaking to a Pandit brother, I'm not calling on him. And he says, Pandit, we were discussing a topic. Tonight we are touching on it in I just forget, Kalika Upapuran. The same Narak, that person name, that's the name of a person. And he says, you know, you're doing all these things, and he said, Babs, you're doing in-depth research and all that is very good. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. But do you know how many people this will go into one ear and come out the other ear? Every parent here tonight might know what I'm talking about. We try. And let me be clear to that person and other people like that. I am doing this not for fame or for... But God made me a guru. God made me a priest. And God gave me you. And I take my job very seriously. If you choose to take your job as a student, as a Hindu in learning, as a person who does not know, and for some will never know, or does not want to know, then you are negligent. Gerd Brand says, a person is judged on what these hands, figuratively, what these hands do, what actions, what non-action. Do you do your duty, or do you neglect your duty? Do you upgrade yourself? Do you learn more, or do you get lazy? What do you do? Now, let me do my job. Chapter 9, Yudhishthira is saying, tell me, on that morning, what do I do? On that Narak Chaturdasi day, the day before, because there are people who only light the diya. And tonight, I want to ask you, what do you do? What do you know of the day before Diwali? You're the Hindu. Pretend I am from a different religion. And I'm asking you, brother, sister, what do you do on that day? Because there are many people, when we get into the conversation about suicide, and we hear that from the Hindu Sanatan Dharma standpoint, there isn't much we're supposed to do, to be honest. Because God has given to you this lifespan, and let's say you cut it short for whatever reason, I'm not going into that. You cut it short and you commit suicide. What prayer, what sanskar, what shrad, what do you want to do now? To uplift the same soul? The same person that damned themselves? Truth is, you're supposed to dispose of the body, burn the body, bury the body, depending on the time, and hold for moments like Narak Chaturdasi, Pitrapaksh, Adigmas, certain moments when particular prayer, Shrad, gift giving, Gaudan, general Tarpan offerings can be done to help. But what you have is the person who commits suicide, the person who dies of natural causes. Everybody wants to do the same type of funeral. And the truth is, people do it to maybe feel sorry for the parents. Truthfully. Is it right? No. No. But they do it for the people who live, because poor them, they are the ones who really pay the price, because they can't explain what happened, why it happened, but now they have this grief. But when people want to really help that soul, there are things you can do. And tonight we're just touching on one. In the Adig Mass, we dealt there where things like Nandi Mukh Shrad, Narayan Bali Puja, different type of Shrad could be done to help souls. Now, in this time, where Narak Chaturdasi is coming, there is further prayer that could be done. And this is what Yudhishthir wants to know. What could I do as a son? What could I do to help my four parents? Remember, he, had lost his father. So he's always cognizant of that. He says, one form, and I'm saying this as we continue the concept of the bath. You remember last night I mentioned the 4 types of bath? And some people were saying, we don't do them thing in Hinduism. And I corrected you last night. One example, when we go to the wedding, we see people bathe in the morning, the Sunday morning, girl and boy, the mother, the bride or the groom bathes them with milk and dahi. And the other 3, to be honest, the other 3 ingredients are supposed to be there, those that come from the cow. So the first thing on Narak Chaturdasi, a bath is taken. Early in the morning, on this type of day, a person takes a little bit of oil, ghee usually, and their body is massaged. In the wedding ceremony, we use coconut oil because it is cheaper than ghee. And they rub it on the person's skin. But do you know why? What does oil do for you besides moisturizing? From a spiritual standpoint, learn tonight that one form of Lakshmi is milk. This is why milk is offered in all dars and so on, used in prayer. That how I give is so I must get. So I want to give something that is Lakshmi-like, fortune bringing. So when I give this, I must get that. Lakshmi Mata comes to me. Another form, according to verse 32, chapter 9, in the Skand Puran says that Lakshmi lives in the oil that comes from the cow, just as she lives in the gobar. And for this reason, people take bath with oil. Last night, remember, I mentioned that the 5 things that come from the cow purifies: milk, dahi, ghee, gobar, and gaumutra, or the cow urine. Tonight, he says, begin the day by bathing with the ghee. After which, maybe we use some soap to take off the extra grease. You bathe with Ganga Jal or water, representative of Ganga Mata. In the water that is going to be done, that is going to be bathed with, the water, people place something called Upper Marga. Now, one of the questions that I got in the English Patra, which is called Kashika Patra, which is penned by Sri Raghunandanji and Dharampatni, very capable and very, very good book. There's a reference or a definition for Narak Chaturdasi. An upper marg, which is not to be confused with the type of log or timber that we have locally, is mixed together in the water, and it is used to bathe with. Locally, we call it prickly shaft, as I found out from. I'll show you the book tomorrow. It's a local book about herbs. Prickly shaft flowers are used. Devil's horsewhip is the American name for it. There's a scientific name. It's there in the Kashika Patra. I can put it up on Facebook for you. And they use it as a herbal bath for people who say we don't bathe with bush and all them kind of thing. I refer you to the 33rd, 34th, 35th verse of chapter 9, Kartik Mas Mahatyam Skand Puran. This upper marg bush, it looks like a prickly flower. I'm not familiar with it, so I really can't say more than that. But based on the reading, it is something that was brought to the West Indies from India and parts of Asia. It is used as a herbal supplement because it cleans out the woman's stomach, if you know what I mean, the womb, the uterus, to be quite clear. It also is used in a paste form to place on skin blemishes and skin marks. It is used in the pharmaceutical industry because of the healing potency of it. So, bathing with it also has a kind of removing dead skin and hard to heal wounds and so on. So people who are praying for health on this day before the Diwali in Narak Chaturdashi, they bathe with this bush. I know from a family, they were telling me that in California, they are from South India. They use this upper mark powder because they buy it on Amazon in a powdered form and they mix it in their water and bathe with it, just for your knowledge. After having bath with the wet clothes still on their body, in the morning time, people offer a diya in their prayer area, normal prayer area, to the devatas as they worship, offering prayer, pujaing God, worshipping on behalf of those members that have passed away. After this, tarpan is offered. Water mixed together with sesame seed, kush grass, tulsi leaves, dhan or hill rice, jaw is offered so that Yamraj, the Yamdut, will shanti. But these obligations, these libations, is as if you are offering tarpan. Dear Lord, please accept this on behalf of the person who has committed suicide, people who have died generally, people who recently died, people who have died long ago. He says, "Oh, Yudhishthir, chant the mantras that, well, we use them when we have Bandara. Om Yamaya Dharmarajaya Mrityave Chantakayascha Vaivishvataya Kalaya Sarvabhutakshaya." Right? Continuing. These prayers are calling the 40 names of Yamraj. Somebody had asked me, Suresh Gopi had asked me about Panchak Shanti Path. Panchak Shanti Path in Trinidad traditionally is making 5 dolls that is placed in the box so that when we are going to burn the body, there is no subsequent death. It doesn't always work because according to the books, there's a puja that is supposed to be done after that is done on the funeral day. The Panchak Shanti rite occurs on the Bandhara day, where amongst other forms and devatas, 14 forms of Yamraj is worshipped. On the Bedi, you know how like how you have the Navgraha with the 9 leaves? In this Bedi, you move that 9 forward a little bit and you make space for 7 in 2 rows, 14 leaves. And they would put maybe a little bit of yellow rice and a kasaili or nutmeg, or in some places, if the bedi is big enough, they even put small coconuts that have been shaped to represent this son of Suryanarayan Swami, Yamraj, in his different forms. And you worship that God and you ask him, please do not allow anybody else to die. The problem with Panchak, Sudesh, if you're listening, and for others, is if you burn the body in that time, it is considered to be inauspicious and it could bring about subsequent death. But that is a time, Panchak is a time for, with regard to consequence of funeral rites, we bury. We are burying. If you bury in Panchak, there's nobody else is going to die. And lastly, after doing the worship of Yamraj and offering of Tarpan and all these things, doing prayer on behalf of Bhishma Pitamaha, doing Pitra Tarpan, Dev Tarpan, all these things. If there is any pret, if anybody has recently died and all the prayers, all the different shrad is not done for those type of traveling souls, this here is a moment for that type of help to be given. The person then at the Sandhya hour in the evening time makes an offering of a diya filled with ghee that is to be placed on the southern side of the home, or the direction where Yamraj, his energies are from the south. So we are going to put this light on that side. And you allow the light or the heat energy of this lamp to shine in that direction to repel the energies of the south, and let this energy that I am sending go and help my ancestors as an offering, as it were, to God on behalf of our family. Now, these things about directions and so on, it sounds strange, but you know about it. At a minimum, when I'm doing my puja, I face East Baba, and the Pandit face North Baba. It says, according to Vastu Shastra, somebody had asked, Baba, I know my front door is supposed to face eastward, so that when I open my front door, I get that eastern sunlight, the sunlight bath you mentioned last night. I get up in the morning and I bow to that sun and I take that energy into my body as I begin my day. That is the correct way, I agree. But Baba, suppose my front door is facing south. And here is the problem. Because the energies that you are taking in are not as positive. In fact, it is considered to be the worst place. Your home is always, filled with sickness. It has arguments, a lot of arguments, troubles. So then you will hear people put in Ganesh Baba like an elephant. And we'll talk about that. Shall I put up my elephant? Why do we, as Hindu people of all God's creations, why do we fixate on his elephant? He's tied to Lakshmi Mata. We'll talk about that. Why do we put mirrors when you see people decorate with little things like mirrors in front of their front door, or even palm trees are placed to repel the energies of the southern direction? Here, on the day before Diwali, the Diya light is just one more tool, one more weapon in your armory to repel the energy. In the Vastu Shastra, it tells you about the direction of the Jandi, for example, just to touch on a couple. It says that in a home where you have your dining table, you are supposed to face westward to eat if you wish to have barakat of food stuff. My food is always finishing, everybody is always hungry, we always have to cook back food, Baba. What could I do? Turn the dining table in such a way that the parents in particular, when they sit to eat, they are facing westward. There's a lot of arguments. Make sure married people that are coming together don't come together, don't have their bedroom in the northeast corner of the home. In the northeast corner, according to Vastu Shastra, this is where the devatas are living. So the northeast corner is where you might have your prayer room, or you might have on the outside of the home, the Jandi area. So in the prayer room, in that northeast corner, you might put like a stock room, you might put the prayer room, you might put maybe a child, a baby's bedroom, but not husband and wife room. From a sexual perspective, it causes conflict in the home, it causes argument. So when these type of things are occurring in the home, and you call your Baba for advice, and Baba says, well, this is one of the things you could do that would serve to bring peace in your home, because Vastu Shastra is the book that describes that entity that lives in the land. It is here different things are planted, worshipped, things that are done to make the house into a home. How to make that happen. So during this time, I'm just saying, as we are, for those of you that have looked at your ZTV again, and your TV is teaching you about Vastu consultants, these people, this is what they do for their job. Just like a Baba might guide you and teach you about how to put and position things so that you would see improvements in the quality of your life. Lighting this yum deep after doing this day of prayer, anointing your body with the oil, bathing, washing your body, getting rid of the sins and the unclean, the spiritual unclean. That is what that ghee is moving. That is what that Ganga or that water on that day in preparation to go and do the Tarpan offerings and all these things. When people have family members that have committed suicide, that have died, maybe there is somebody, this evening I remember my friend Selwyn. Amit Buru Singh, Kale. God bless our Selwyn. I remember him right now. Wherever he is, God bless that soul. When the person who has died is in one religion, and then there are other religion, other family members who follow different religion, but nobody wants to do the prescribed rites for this person. What about that person? Narak Chaturdasi would help such a person. So this is the importance of that little diya, that one diya, and all the different things that you could do on that day. But there's a little mix-up here, Baba. There's a little confusion here, Baba. Who is Narak? To get the true blessings tonight, we are entering now, based on my conversation with my friends, my Baba friends. Kalika Upapuran, chapter 37 is where we begin, where we hear about the history of Naraka. Who is this individual? And here it talks about Naraka being the son of Lord Vishnu when he is in the Varaha form. For those people that do the Panchmukh Hanuman form, where Lord Vishnu has a form where he has a boar head. He had descended upon the earth, and this is where Kush grass come from, that discourse. He comes upon the earth and he marries Prithvi Mata, Mother Earth, and they have children together. And from her children, we get like the different forms of Agni. The 3 different types of Agni come from that birth. It happens that there's a king by the name of Raja Janak, as per this section, and he did not have children in the kingdom of Videha. Raja Janak hears Dashrath has done Yagna, and he gets children. And for this reason, he calls Gautam Rishi to do Yagna for him. Maybe I will get lucky and I will have children. Narad Muni, Satanand Muni, Gautam Muni are present. When Prithvi Mata, according to this Upapuran, appears to Janak in the fields, and she says to him, "O Rajan, I will bless you from the bowels of the earth, from my body, to give you a daughter that will bring an end to the reign of Ravan. She is going to be the incarnation of Adi Shakti. She is that one that will trigger the end of Ravan and his race, bringing an end to the bad that is plaguing me, that is causing untold death to goodly and godly people. When her Janam is closed, when her time has passed, when that Leela is finished, I will bring to you, for doing this work or accepting this girl child, I will bring my son, Narak, to you. Naraka to you. And for a few years, you will be as if to be father to him." Sita Mata is found in the field, and Raja Janak does take care of Devi. And in different versions of Ramayana, we hear when it was in the Love Kushkan of Tulsidas Ramayana, when it was time for mother to return, Prithvi Mata bursts the earth, comes up in a huge throne and takes back mother on her lap. And many people, because it is not found in Tulsidas nor Jwala Prasad, I have never found it in Valmiki Ramayana. Why did dirty Mata do that? But it is here. Because it is here that she makes the deal. If you accept this girl, I'm going to give you this boy child. Both are my children. When Ravana was destroyed and Sita was returned to dirty Mata, because she goes into the earth, Sri Ram, he returns at the bank of the Surya River. He goes back to Vaikuntha. For 16 years, Naraka, the son of Varaha, Lord Vishnu incarnate, Mother Earth, Prithvi Devi, remains with Janak. In this way, by this time, according to this Puran, Janak has a younger son, younger by far than Sita Mata, and The queens are very worried that Janak in love would give Naraka his throne. So Prithvi Devi takes back her son at the end of that 16 years. And this Naraka grows very powerful. He's the son of Lord Vishnu. He greets his father. He's allowed to meet his father. And he usurps, he fights and destroys a wicked king, and he takes Prague, Jyotiyapur. And he's conquering in different directions. And his father warns him, do Kamakya Devi, also known as Kamakshi Devi, puja, make an entire temple for Kamakya Devi and ensure her worship is done. Vishnu, Mahavishnu, allows Naraka to marry a girl by the name of Maya. And he instructs him, do not have quarrels with the praying people. Do not have troubles with those that are doing dhan, pray, jap, tapasya, etc. Do not go and have any type of enmity with the devatas even. You are too powerful, but it will bring an end to you. Prithvi and Lord Vishnu bless him. But they remind him, do not stop doing Kamakya Devi Puja. Never stop that. One day, as the battles in different places is raging and he's losing the war, within his heart, the Rajan Bhanasur from Sonita Pura, a neighbor, a friend, alleged friend, comes close to him. And he says to him, I've been doing Kamakya Devi Puja, but I am not seeing my way. And Bhanasur, who is truly a demon, who is truly a bad influence and a bad confidant, wants to see Narakasur fall. So he tells him, oh friend, I worship Lord Shiva. You stop all your worship. I spit on Kamakya Devi. Don't do that worship. You come and you worship like me, and you will get benefit. As that decision is made, Vashish Muni is the person who plays the role in giving the son of Lord Krishna the shrap. Do you remember that? Samba, the son of Lord Krishna. How does that Krishna Lila end? That son of Lord Krishna is very, very filled. You know, he's arrogant. He plays a game. Bhagavad Puran says he tries to trick Vashish Muni. And Vashish Muni puts a shrap on him that you are going to cause the end, in a summary, you are going to cause the end of your entire family. Here now, Vashish Muni again comes. I have come, O king, to worship Kamakya Devi for this entire month. He says, you are not going to gain entry into the sanctorium of this temple. You are not allowed to go there. Nobody is going to do Kamakya Devi, Kamakshi Devi Puja. And in that moment, Vashish Muni says, you're going to be destroyed. I put a shrap on you because you have stopped me from doing my duty, my puja. Stopping me and robbing me, obstructing a praying person brings sin. And because of this, you are going to be destroyed by your father. Mahavishnu is now going to be the person to destroy him. To remove this burden, when Prithvi Mata goes, do you remember the cow? And she goes and she begs Vishnu to come upon the earth and to remove the burden of unrighteousness. Krishna knows that he has to, at some point, attend to this form, Narakasur. Because as he had stopped that prayer and he gets that trap, he goes and he starts to get more and more vile, more and more vicious. When he hears that my father is going to become my enemy now he lives as if it were no restraint. We enter into Bhagavad now, where we pick up what happened after. That was it, the origination of Narakasura. It does not give you that in Bhagavad Puran. One day I was reading Bhagavad in a yagna, and a person, a child, told me, I heard today in school, I want to acknowledge the teachers that are using any means necessary to maintain the RI, religious instruction classes with our children that are at home. Somebody asked me about my thoughts on, as I said, reopening the country, the churches, masjids, temples. And I don't know what to say about it, but this. Imagine I can go to a cinema and sit for 3 hours. Well, you can't eat. If you eat, well, maybe I have to move the mask or something, right? Don't eat. But I'll sit there for 3 hours and I will not get COVID. But if I go in a temple or a masjid or a church for 1 hour and 5 minutes or 2 hours, I will get COVID. That stood out to me. It's just like we have in Trinidad and Tobago. You had in a previous lifting of the stringent measures that we had. We were at one point, do not go to the beaches. So everybody, most of us listened like good boys and girls. And then the rules changed. So I was told I could go to nylon pool. I could go to the beach now. I could get onto the boat. I could sit in the boat. But when you reach the nylon pool, don't come off the boat. Because if I come off the boat, I am going to frolic in the sea. And I'm going to get COVID. But if I sit next to Anushka and Mommy, Baba, and everybody on the boat, on the way to the pool, I will not get COVID. Listening to answer that question, listening to those comments, listening to those measures, I sometimes wonder the logic. It doesn't make sense to me sometimes. But what do I know? Here now, the history of Narakasur is given. And a child says he heard from a friend from a different religion, your Lord Krishna had plenty, his words as a child, plenty wife. And I was saying that I commend the teachers that are making, because obviously religious instruction is not part of the curriculum for the subject they teach. But there are those teachers that are going above and beyond the call to still try to get your child some knowledge of their dharma. In this time where we should be praying more, I am echoing that message. I am supporting the teachers that are trying to fight. Even on the computer systems, now the children, I was speaking to a teacher this evening, and he was saying that children are acting up even on the computer now. Dropping into class, out of class. They don't want to sit in front of the camera. They don't want to remain in the classroom setting. Do you know what will happen 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now? What will be the quality of if they graduate? We won't see the problems now. Parents at home, I know you're tired, but we need to be vigilant when it comes to children and their homework, their studies. In education, you find freedom from poverty. And if we are not careful, you're already here in Trinidad, we have a freeze of government jobs. How many people will go and sell in fast food outlets? How many people will serve in groceries? How many people will do those type of jobs? Maybe we might end up with more apprentices doing, as I recently learned, I was telling everybody in the group, I was doing woodwork, and I see the value in learning that, and I respect people who can do things with their hands, because everybody needs a plumber, an electrician, etc. And maybe that's the plan for some, to go and learn a trade, as they see. But when your child does not have the discipline that is required to absorb information, what is going to happen when they don't have the strong foundation in work and they are going to have to build on that as they get older? How will they pass an exam? And then, facing that challenge, I still hear of wonderful teachers that are trying. Pandit, do you have a video? Pandit, is there anything on YouTube? Pandit, is there anything on Facebook that we could show them, like a little video? And maybe when they see their Baba or their Guru, maybe they will zone in and they will listen. I am in full support. Use everything that I put out. If you need more, any teacher, every teacher watching here tonight, feel free to message me on Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, any method. My phone number is 712-2180, 1868-712-2180, because it applies to foreign teachers as well. In any way I could help you, please just let me know. And for free, I would love to do it. I applaud teachers like that who give their life. Good job. The child says, I heard somebody say he has so many wives. Tonight's discourse talks about that, about Lord Krishna and these wives. Narakasur was such a person. Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Raja Parikshit in this Bhagavad. I am reading from, because I have people, educated people reference their reading and their research. Skand 10, chapter 59. Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Raja Parikshit, the grandson of Arjun. And he says, this discourse was narrated to me, O Parikshit, by Krishna himself, based on what he had done. Narakasur was the son of Prithvi, and he had become very, very corrupted, embrazen by the fact that he was the son of Varaha, Vishnu himself. He starts to take advantage of people, performing great amount of atrocious deeds against good people, innocent people. He kidnaps, as he would conquer the 8 types of wedding. One type that is not really done, but in times gone by, people used to do it. When they conquer area, they used to take a girl from that village or that country to show that they are the conqueror, for peace, because, well, the daughter is from there, so how can we wage war? For her peaceful living, we must live in peace. So Narakasur is such an aggressive person. He accumulates 16,000 women that he took from different places that he's conquering, and he has them in his castle. This son of the earth is so brazen that he goes and he takes the earrings from the mother Aditi. He goes and he fights Varun Devta, and he takes his utensils, his umbrella, other things. And one day, Krishna is told that now it is time for you to deal with the Raja from Prayog Jyotishapur, who is the same Narakasur. It is time for you, because he is becoming a plague. He has already done so much damage, and he is doing more damage to innocent people. On the back of Garud, thinking of Garud, Garudji appears, ready, squealing, ready for war. Parikshit, I jumped on Garud, and Satyabhama, in that Christian form, he gets married to 8 girls. Satyabhama was one of them. In this Yagna, we'll discuss Satyabhama. Satyabhama sitting on that Vahan, on that vehicle called Garud. Instantly, they fly at lightning speed. They reach. And when they reach to the city of Prayag Jyotis, it is as if it is covered with physical armaments, defensive mechanisms, weapons, fortification, but it also has spiritual protection. Narakasur was somebody who knew the art of black magic, the tantric type of prayer that would destroy the enemy in the battle. On a day like Narak Chaturdasi, if I don't teach, nobody would tell you this. When you think people are doing things to you that are of our unrighteous, unclean, as we say, tamasic nature, this is a day for consultation with your guru before. Pray. Yantras are made on that day. I would sit down and I would do prayers. Yes, I would have prayers for people, but in the night, different types of mantras are jagawid. So that the potency of this prayer, yantra is when you write it down, so that the person has it on their body. So that, as we say, tabids or God or yantra, the energies from this havan, this prayer, sits on the person. It touches the shell, touches your body. It's metal because it is a conductor of electrical energy, and it shoots this positive energy into your aura, sending a surge of protection around you. So when the child has this, for example, the negativity of the person's face, looking at the person's face, for example, is null and void. Did you ever see for the wedding, for example, a different way they do it? For those nows and nownias that know about it. Have you ever gone to a wedding on a Sunday morning and the mother wears the Maori? The Maori is the headgear that has the little strings that hide the face. In India, in some cultures, I think it is Udesi as well as in Bangalore, they tie a little piece of hardi here. The mother is using it, of course, it is common sense, hide the person's face. When they can't see them, you can't, oh, she looking nice, oh, she looking so ugly today. You know, people is for wedding, you know what I'm talking about. Do you do it? So, you hide your face, but who blesses the Maori? The mother together with the now and those guides, the elders, they're supposed to say prayers and the mother is praying. Please charge this Maori. I'm going to send my child. I just beat them. And we talk about the beating with the milk, the dahi, and the other things that supposed to use. I am preparing to send off my Raja, my Rani is going to get married. So now we want to make sure they're safe. Dear God, sit here and protect. So in that article, in that item, just as how the Baba would bless, Baba did just bless them thing. Come on, you can't. You went to wedding already. You know that it's blessed the ring. You know that it's blessed the mala. You know that it's blessed the tag part. You know that it's blessed the mandap. You know that it's blessed everything. The kangan, oh Lord, the little chain, the little penknife. Please protect this person. Let him get married. Don't let nobody touch them. Big surprise with blessing the Maori. With the type of mantra to bless the Maori as a pundit, we jagaw it on the day before Diwali, for example. So to protect the person from sickness. So let's say in a boy's case, my mother prayed and blessed the Maori from her head. And from her head, it came to my head. If you did not know why they did that, why they do that, this is why. So when the mother is the person who is not looking at you and wishing she should have get you. There are people that should not touch you when you have a wedding. Because just as we are talking about people that do good and pray for good, there are people who are filled with jealousy and envy. So why I couldn't get that boy to marry my daughter? Why I couldn't get the doctor, the engineer, or the rich man's son to marry my child? I am going to do something to harm them. They are going to divorce in a year. Sounding strange? This is why we protect them on that day. So the mother says, with my good energy, with my love, with my prayer, dear God, protect my child. The mother is reciting prayers, obviously, that she's guided by others. And they put the Maori on. We put the Baba comes and he puts the chand, and there are different steps. Protection. Maybe we are so in so much task and noise, and they're coming back from fanning the rice, and there's so many things going on that maybe we miss these steps. But this is why. When they put you in the car and they ongche you. Ongche is the word I'm using. And you see they take the flower balls and they throw in it. If Jambi, spirit, if somebody send you here to eat off the energy of my child, eat this flower bowl. Mothers, they say, ladies who are married, why? Well, brother, if you're married, you don't know the trouble of one husband. You know what two. That's why I said a husband is like a son. You don't settle. A mother is somebody who is settled. She's not lusty. She's not watching the bridegroom in a lustful way to give nudger or bad eye, but she's watching like a son. Oh God, that is like my boy going. Oh gosh, boy, go bring your dollar in and come back. I'm so happy for you. I bless your son. So these people are elected to go and him by the car, and they use their light. We'll talk about this light again tomorrow. Why is the light waved by the dollar in the by the wedding car, Baba? We with water to make sure the grunging, negative energy, go into the water, go to the earth, stay down, don't come up, don't come to this child. And then, as I said, the ball. You see it sometimes in funeral. You see it when the child is coming home from the hospital. When the fast forward and the girl child make the baby and they reach by the road and they're about to come into the home as she's coming home from the nursing home or the hospital. How many people know what to guide your child? If you need that help, send me a message tonight. I'll send you the procedure for 6 and 12 days. The Mohanlal family, God bless them. Valine, she made a beautiful baby girl and she came home today. And in that example, young mothers and young fathers throughout this world, this globe, sometimes need advice on what is to be done, what is not to be done. We discussed it in our group in the ashram, the WhatsApp group. If you would like to join, again tonight, I forgot to do it tonight. I'm going to send it out, the link. Join the group so that you can learn about your dharma. On that day, you're throwing the flower ball. Spirit, Jambi, ghost, eat. If you came here for something, it's blessed. Eat. When you see them walking with the duri, for those poor people who like to eat duri, please, I'm talking to you. Mommy, Baba laugh. So duri is the little boy, the city girl, the dollar hen. She come in, oh, she come in. Everybody's excited, and she has this rice ball in a bracelet, and rice and so on. And when the prayers finish, each time they use the duri, they just put it by the how is it called that place? Eh? Kohovar, the Kohovar. I don't know if anybody remember that. So they just use one, go outside, come back inside, the next one to come inside, right? Something happens there. It becomes unclean. Nonetheless, people eating that one. Have you ever eaten the, how do you call that thing? Duri. Have you ever eaten a duri? Don't lie for me. Tell me the truth. The duri is made with sweet things, pleasant things, happy things, good things. And the purpose of it is don't eat the girl, don't eat the boy, don't spirit, don't do it. Eat this. Eat the duri. So when they rest it down, we don't want to use that back because it come like the bad thing, touch it. So when time to come back inside, you will see they use a fresh duri. When you eat that, do you think it is a good thing? No, it is unclean. It is nasty. It is tamasic. On this day before Diwali, people do prayer to protect themselves using mantras and yantras, doing things like the tabich that is worn on people in different ways. Babas jagawa their mantras so that they can help families. In this example, I'm just talking about steps in the wedding. But we do it in ways to help. So I hope as you are learning tonight, as I'm talking about, if you have any other question for the young people that are getting married, parents that would like to know more, send me your questions, please. I enjoy this. It keeps me going. These guards, these wonderful fortifications, spiritual fortifications, were put there by a wonderful demon that had 5 heads by the name of Moda. Moda. Ever hear that name? No, Baba. All right. Krishna Bhagwan blows his sunk. And I'm summarizing. Time is running. Blows his sunk and destroys all the ramparts, all the different blockage, all the different negativity, all the nasty things that they would have buried into the earth. And for that reason, Krishna is called the one who destroys that Mura. Have you ever heard that name? Have you ever called Lord Krishna Murari? Have you ever heard somebody call him that? Hey Murari! The person who destroys this very evil and capable demon in this discourse. After destroying all the different enemies, Krishna reaches closer and closer to this son of Narakasura. Narakasura has 7 sons that he sends forward. Shravan, Vibhasu and others. And Krishna lays waste to them as well using the Sudarshan Chakra. For this reason, on the Narakasura Chaturdasi, people worship the Shaligram in that chakra, the one that has the swirling effect on that night. It is great to do that puja. Dividing and devouring and mashing them, Garud begins to deal with the army of Narakasura as Krishna engages one-on-one fight with Narak. Narakasura is fortified and protected by great amount of tantric prey tied on his body, tied throughout his system, but Krishna wears certain things on his body as well to counteract those things. For this reason, the person who on the night of Narak Chaturdasi uses the opportunity to collect and to harvest prey that protect them, it would be very potent. Krishna fighting this individual allows the Sudarshan Chakra to spin and takes off his head. Dirty Mata appears and she bows to him. Hey Prabhu, Padmanabhya, the one with the lotus-like navel or the lotus growing from the navel, there are 2 explanations. I bow to you. Namaste Deva Devasya Shankachakra Gadadhara Bhaktanukampa Rupaya Paramatma Mochastu. That I bow to you, Prabhu. She worshipped him and she got her blessing. That you have conquered yet again a great negative of this earth. He was my son. But he made one request, O Prabhu. He made one request that the person who allows him to live on, the person who maintains the memory of my son, this is my prayer, let the ancestors be at peace. Krishna, listening to the words of Dharti Mata, don't in that form where she had like the 3 sons with the Varaha and then this form, even then, and you will find that in the Upapuran of Kali, Gora and the others that went on to be Griha Agni, Dakshina Agni and all these things, Varaha never wanted his children to be forgotten. He says in that section too, the Sarabhya, the form of Lord Shiva where he has wings, he says there is no Gita, there is no Ramayana, there is no text for this form called Varaha, and people will forget me and my sacrifice. He says no. And there they talked about Kushras. Because you brought the Kushi, the happiness of Dharti Mata. Kusha grass is going to grow from by your foot, a grass. And in that section, they describe how the root is like a rhizome, and we've discussed all these things already. He says, but my sons, I don't want my sons to be forgotten. Lord Shiva says, I bless them that they will become immortalized. And for that, from that day to this day, we still have the different Agni, puja, the cooking, etc., for funeral, etc. This son now, Krishna says, let the Gidiya be lit. Amongst the other things that we spoken about, the libation, what is the connection between Narakasur and the Tarpan and debating with the herbs and debating with the ghee. On that day, excuse me, on that day, people do hawan with different types of wood, different types of herbs. They bathe with it for the health, the benefit of the person, the man who is sickly and praying. So, for example, people use jamun wood, jamun leaves, jamun leaves when they have diabetes, and they use the, I share the Varun Gayatri as the mantra, Arham mantra. When they use that mantra together with the jamun plant, the jamun fruit, people use that to make juice to drink, when to control diabetes. So on a day like the day before, when we have family members that are ailing, at least in this example of this type of sickness, you offer to God this type of leaf or wood, touch the ghee, and say any Gayatri of Varun Devta, and you swaha. And by virtue of that type of prayer, this type of help, where it is not cured, I'm not telling you you're going to be cured, but it comes under control. Nerve pain, the other problems that this disease, epilepsy, schizophrenia, these things, they are prayers that are used on these type of days for that type of help. Is this sounding strange? All right. Remember, Bhagavad Gita says, thank you. When mother had made the request that please let my son be immortalized, let him be like a light to helping the family be uplifted. Krishna says that person, what I described in Skand Puran earlier for you, person who does the Tarpan, because it's Krishna worship we're talking about. Another name for Narak Chaturdasi is Pret Chaturdasi. Pret is a roaming, unrested soul. So the person who does worship, it is as if Krishna is giving you directions. Do it on that day, and you will be able to help not only yourself, but those people that are from your family, your ancestors, etc. Leaving mother there, she goes, she disappears. And as he investigated the city of Prayag Jot, he came across all these young maidens who had been kidnapped, who had been taken from their father's home. From their father's home, they were never married. And he says to them, you are now free. And one of them says, Prabhu, who will take us after living in the house of this man for so long? We will be scorned. People will spit on us. The community will say we were a wife, we were once a wife, common law wife, and now we are deserted. Now we will be disregarded by all. Nobody will protect us. Prabhu, we seek your protection. Murari Puja, Christian Puja in this form, also is one that protects the married woman or the marrying woman. Krishna got married to all 16,000 of them, but he never had them as personal wife. He kept them sindoor wearing for safety reasons. I believe the type of wedding, I could confirm that type. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Let me do, I believe you call, when you kidnap a girl and you make her a wife by force, is called Rakshasi wedding or Viva Sanskar. I'll confirm that tomorrow night with you when we're doing the discourse. But for safety reasons, for maintenance reasons, he allows them to live in the city in their own apartments. But his personal wives, those were like Satyabhama, Rukmini, etc. If anybody has any further questions on this, I prefer you ask me. I prefer you message me rather than people of different faith that attack our dharma, our history, corrupt your mind. I never hear that. I don't know about that. I don't believe that. It sounds awesome. It sounds beyond the acts of a normal man. And I agree. The Christian wasn't a normal man. But if you live in a society and women are being trashed, women are being, treated very bad, it is left to the politician or the decision makers, the kings, to protect the women. Forget in the days of law, in these olden days, and let's talk about at the end of World War II, when the war was done and all the German soldiers had died, or a lot of them had died. The German women who had condoned the atrocities of the war, but still women, married, mothers, so on, living innocent life, definitely never carried out the murder, in most cases, of anybody. When the Russian Red Army came into Germany, it is said, if you read your history, it is said that this army plundered, raped women, ripped their clothes in the middle of the road, stripped them naked, and raped them in such a way that it caused dismemberment, harm, death. For many of them, it was as if they were a toy. Your opinion did not matter. So imagine in a war-stricken country, a war is now complete, to put it in perspective. And the new leader, the new of these people, of this, you have now destroyed the governing body. And the new governing head says, I will take care of you. You are under my protection. No one will attack your character. No one will attack you. Because there is a clear list, as I mentioned, Samba, the son of Krishna, who he has children with, to put it in perspective. If a person is able to have children with 16,000 women, we would hear about it in our text. In fact, for every child that he had, it was listed and a discourse is given about or with them, believe it or not. Vindravan Biharilala ki Jai. Tonight, I am pausing here. This is, in conclusion of our discourse, we've read about what to do on Kartik. I listed for you things to do, things that the person who is free to go to the temple, sweep the temple, offer flowers, pick flowers, etc. You could do that. There is form of worship, like the Shaligram worship. And if the person is under lockdown, if the person, to be honest, if you're watching me from the hospital, I know Sharon is watching me in France, in the hospital. I know there are many people locked in their homes due to COVID, and they can't get outside to do these things. Be honest. Be honest. Try that. Abstain from fresh, etc. Then we spoke about the name Damodhara. As he says, if you do these things that some of which I'm mentioning now, I gave the full description at the beginning. That form of Lord Krishna, Damodhara, he's going to be very happy with you. So then we did the Damodhara Ashtakam as we explained the name of Damodhara. Then we spoke about tonight's discourse, which is really the Narak Chaturdasi, what to do on that day. So please remember, as I said at the beginning, demonic people never know what is good, what is right, and what is wrong. We don't know. We don't have the knowledge. And he says, having the knowledge about what you're doing is better than just doing. There is the platform from which this discourse came from. That is my purpose. Then we did Kalika Puran that showed you, just for your knowledge, the history of Narakasur. And then in Bhagavad, how his story came to an end. The lighting of the Diya, where did it come from? If he's a bad guy, how did he get immortalized in the calendar, in the things that we do? How is his name? It's not Damodhara Chaturdasi, it is not Murari Chaturdasi, it is Narak Chaturdasi. How? And this is why. Because he was able to die at the hands of Lord Krishna. And the prayer of the mother, the prayer of Dharti Mata, gives him that Vardhan, that Ashirvad. Tonight, before I conclude, let me deal with a couple of questions. Andy Sandra Narayan Sitaram from Maryland, an uncle. He said, yes, Baba, we want to learn. We want to learn about the Jarin and all that. So let's talk about the Jarin. That section, just to precede, to reference, where I was reading from, the 11th book, chapter 24 of Devi Bhagavad, I believe this is the second volume. just to wet your taste buds a little bit. When a home is plagued by different type of, and this is Devi Bhagwat, when a home is plagued by different type of pisach, unrested souls, things that come and feed and touch. As I mentioned last night, there are many women who talk about things touching them, squeezing them, choking them. You take a shula. A shula is, remember, you've heard that word, trishula. Shula is one, it's a spear, the spearhead, very sharp knife. And in the home where Gayatri is going to be performed, in the dirt, you make a Bedi square, you plaster, you leap it with gobar, you put ashtagan in the gobar and you leap it. Then Gayatri is going to be jagawed for 1,000 times. And you dig the earth after it's finished, where that Havana was done, and this has to be on the land, and you bury that shul or that spear into the land. There are many, it sounds strange, but it is one of the reasons we have a little pen knife. In today's world, we use a little knife. In other times, they use different weaponry. Let's see if we can find an easy one here now. If a person takes kush grass, kusha chara, or kush, let me say kush jarin, take the kush grass, braid it like how you braid here. Make a straight rod with it. Dance it in water that a person is about to bathe with. Saying the Gayatri Jap. And the person whose hair is falling, let them bathe. That is one way of dealing with it. When the Pandit comes and uses kush grass, again it is plaited and used to sprinkle. If there are any demonic people at your home, they will have to leave. If a person's body is possessed, listen to the word, possessed by any demonic force, blow into the water, saturate that water with the mantra potency of Gayatri, minimum 27. Why 27? 108 sits on a mala. We make it easy for everybody. 108 is a mala. Half of the mala is 54. 108 divided by 2. A quarter of a mala is 27. 27 times, say Gayatri, blow into the water, let the person drink, and you will see the person deposed of this devil, this fiend, this spirit that came to feed off their energy. And the person is now regaining happiness, health. They speak. When you see people quarreling, arguing, getting on, a child having a tantrum, these are different ways that parents could help themselves. Even when a person is in this way, possessed in that negative, let the Baba sprinkle the water that has till and the kush grass ladle and sprinkle on them to do what? Rid them of any negative force. Have you ever gone to puja? And we're going to start to do the prayers and the Baba wetting you up? What are you wetting you for? And we done purified, we wash the hand, we set the water, we wash the hand. Where would this be getting wet up for? That is where this take place. That if the person has any negative energy superimposing on them, causing bad choices, the way they think, the way they are doing something such as pray, when you are most vulnerable, this is why they put the kush grass under your feet when you're going to sit, or under your seat where you sit for the sanskar. Like let's just say we're doing the wedding or we're doing the funeral, all sanskar, you always sit on the kush grass because it is a Lord Vishnu there. It runs away negative people. This is why we wear the kush grass ring on the hand. This is why the mantra for the chandan, the raksha that you wear at the beginning of the, or the bali at the beginning of the prayer, protect the person. The person is about to do prayer. Please shield them from the onslaught of negative things. Bhuta pisachani katanahi awe. By the name of Hanuman, these loose things, these bad things must go. And this is just another way to make them go. Let's go again. For the pacification of fever, health now, fever, take mango leaves. You know, somebody asked me once, why we just put the 5 mango leaves? Why mango leaves? There are different prayers where we use different types of herbs, bush, in the Khalsa. But a common, if you look at Satnarayana Pitya, it is there under the coconut. 5 representing the 5 elements. But why the mango leaf? Now we learn. in science world today, when you take the young mango leaf and you boil it and you drink the tea, the Chinese were using it, sugar comes down. Because of the potency, the mango tree is also linked to Lakshmi Mata. Take the mango leaf, dip it in milk, and then do havan with it using the Gayatri mantra. And the person who has a fever, the fever will break. Sometimes when you do these type of havan and you collect the ashes, the basma, like there are people when they come to the ashram during this month, I will give them some ashes, some seeds, still, and all these things. Go and have your bath. And people want to know what is in there. This is some examples of what pundits use in their havan for those that know about it. And you are helping the person because depending on the sickness, you sometimes have to drink the ash. Like what if for those devotees that worship Sai Baba, and remember how long time you used to get the vibhuti in the little packets. I grew up in a family that prayed to Baba, and the Pitya would give vibhuti and honey and all these things. So I grew up with that love. And in all fairness, we were taught to taste the basma, put it on our body, and with faith, healing would come. In one of the verses here, it makes reference, if havan is done for the upper marga, which we were talking about for the day before Diwali, what you see for the person again who talks about the Kashika Patra, what is the benefit? If you take this type of the seed, apparently, based on my reading, you know, sometimes when we go in the bush, we just get the little, I don't know how to call that, the furry ball that is stick to your clothes for dispersion. It looks something like that. You use the seed or the flowers of the plant, dip it in ghee, use Gayatri mantra, and for hysteria, when people are acting up and they can't sit down and they're acting and like for example, I have a friend, I'm saying friend, he overdrank concentrated bang where they boiled the datur flowers years ago, and he drank it, and one of the trouble with that plant is major hallucinations. So he damaged himself mentally because he overdrank. It was too much. So till this day, now much older, Pandit, the devil coming from the floor. And he will tell you, I am seeing something in the floor, and starts to act up really wild. He will cause damage to people, damage to his home. For people like that, this type of havan helps. Epilepsy and epileptic fits can be cured by doing havan on that day with this. When people use Undumbara wood for healthy children, if you are bringing forward children that have mental retardation or special needs children, Udumbara wood is one of the type of wood. It is available. It's here in New Grant. I'm referring to Uncle Ramdat. He could get that for you. By the Datta temple in Hindustan and in Pinal, there are these trees. They brought them here. You use the wood in the fire and it will help. When a person has to suppress gonorrhea, syphilis, sugar cane juice, or jaggery rolled and offered into fire through the thumb and index finger, like a marble, is used and it calms down. So that could also be applied, you see, for things that are flaring up like psoriasis and so on. With stress, people offer the jaggery into the fire and it brings help. There are many examples of it, but I'm referring to what we were talking about, the jarring. This is where it comes from. Sadacharya is the name of the chapter. Book 11, chapter 24, Bhagavad, Devi Bhagavad. So, there are many people. Some people were asking the question about, I made a point about, you know, I went to the puja store and somebody was eating chicken. I didn't call the business place. I wouldn't do that. Name. My only point is, purchase these things. Purchase your roti. Purchase your parsad. Purchase what you need for your prayer from trusted sources. And that research, that help, yes, you want the help. I'm glad for the help. But be conscious, you are fasting and you are giving input into your puja, but there are other people contributing to this prayer. So if you are taking your prayer serious, then you try. I'm not saying you have to do everything. That was the answer for people long ago. Nowadays, we have to know how to maybe adapt, maybe modify while still doing the correct thing. Because, for example, when long ago, like in the times of my grandparents, I was told the recipe was not paratha roti. It was chapati roti. Maybe if you know about this, this is definitely before my time. I have never seen this in a wedding or any type of cooking. Um, they used to cut barrels in half or make big boxes, and they would make small roti, and they would make many roti, and then um, paratha roti is a Muslim recipe that we started to partner. We started to use it because you know what? It makes sense. Make a big roti to feed more people because it was less cumbersome. Now, for people to lift the tower is a problem. To get a tower, to get somebody who knowledge about it. So maybe what we need to do is change. Then just an example. Example of that is Palmer's Heart. I remember my grandmother telling me, when you have a wedding, I don't know if anybody had Palmer's Heart for their wedding. If you couldn't get Palmer's Heart, something was missing. Where's Palmer's Heart now? My generation, the generation after me, we don't know about that. So the palmist trees are getting to grow now. Think about that. There are many examples of making sure you fulfill the requirement, know your priorities, but all I'm saying is do it to the best. Excuse. I spoke about the little piece of gold, and Auntie Patsy Khan and Auntie Sheila Jadunanan and Auntie Indrani Ward all contributed to that. Auntie Sheila, I respect your honesty. She says, Baba, I just don't know, to be honest. Tonight, before I conclude, I just want to answer that question for you. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, of all the months I'm Kartik, of all the different Adityas, I'm Vishnu, and he says who he is. He identifies that. In prayer, gold represents Lord Vishnu. So when you go to a funeral and you see they put the little pieces of gold, imagine a murti of Lord Vishnu. Please stand guard here. And do not let any spirit, any loose spirit, enter any orifice, opening of this, our relative. When you go to the wedding and you see they gift the girl 5 pieces, big piece or little pieces left to you, 5 pieces of gold. Lord Vishnu, may you bless her with prosperity. Where you are, Lakshmi will come. Let's go again, we are installing the lingam or the murti in the temple, and the first day after the first day we'll do the Shraddha, the next day the puja is done for the earth where the 9 lips or the 9 tongues of Agni is worshipped, and believe it or not, they dig out a little piece of the earth where the murti is going to place, if it is done properly, to remain there without moving or lifting or all these things. And in the earth, different metals are placed. One of the metal is gold. Lord Vishnu, may you remain here. When you were blessing your home, Vastu Sastra says, in order to begin the construction in the northeast corner in that post hole on an appropriate day at an appropriate time, we are going to do worship there. Different things are placed under the guidance of Panditji, and one of the metal that is placed into that hole is gold. Lord Vishnu, when we are going to build the post and this house, you be part and parcel of the energy of this home. Live here. The Bhagavad Gita now. Mahatyam of Bhagavad Gita says the 18 chapters represent his name, his form. This book is my body. When you give it, you are giving me. When you read it, you are reading me. This is why in our discourse tonight in Skand Puran, he says, the person who reads, refers, remembers things of Bhagavad Gita, they are doing a great job in Kartik month. And in that little book, we give the little piece of gold. A little piece. It does. Some people, Baba, I love you. I want to put a chain. But the little piece is what is needed. If God bless you and you want to give something else, that's fine. But the little piece says, this is a life-size murti of Lord Vishnu. Think back when somebody dies, like a bandara, or you're giving siddha during this time when you have yagya, when Gaudan is being done. That little piece of gold, Mahavishnu, if I never get to do murti dan, today I'm giving it. Whether you are doing it for yourself, or if somebody has died and we're doing prayer there, That is why that little piece of gold is used. Auntie Diane says, my husband's sister passed away. Son, my husband's sister's son passed away. Can I light the diya? It's about a month now. The reason why I'm answering this kind of question here, many people have questions like this. First of all, once the bandara is done, the family is now purified. The house is now clean. We are now encouraged to do charity and goodly things. Yes, you can. Second of all, the sister is married into a different family. So let's just pretend they were born in the Abraham family, but she got married into the Singh family. So the Singh family is unclean. They have the problem. But in this family, we are able to light and celebrate. And tonight, as I conclude here, I'm stopping here. I apologize for going over. This is my question based on what Auntie Diane asked me. Why would it be important to light that diya? Tomorrow night we're going to pick up with this. Why is it important for you to light a diya at your home? People always say, light a diya, light a diya, light a diya. We're doing RT. Okay. Big deal. Diwali now is coming. And tomorrow night I'm going to deal with Diwali, the Mother Lakshmi, the diya, the physical diya, and the correlation between all. Why at 6 o'clock I see people RTing. What is that about? If you want to learn more, join us tomorrow night. I'm stopping here tonight. I hope you enjoyed your discourse. I enjoyed giving you this. I hope you really enjoyed it. And please, I'm begging everybody, share this satsang. Share this. After I close, share it. Please leave me a comment. Tell me what you've learned, what you knew, what you did not know. If I left out anything, if you have any questions, please send them for me. If we continue by virtue of our discourse tonight, if we continue not knowing, how will you do? I started off saying you need the knowledge, right? Based on Bhagavad Gita pronouncement. Again, I am giving you something to offer to God. Tomorrow night discourse will talk about the diya. But I'm giving you something to offer to God. And I don't know the value of this. Just as how I'm sure many people didn't know why we do what we do the day before Diwali. I hope you have learned something. I hope we can have a discussion of the things to do. Remember tonight you learned about Damodara and Murari. I referred to one or two verses of the Bhagavad Gita in addition to all these Puranas. If anybody has any questions, again, forward me. I'm going to send the link to the WhatsApp group for the ashram. All you have to do is click on that link. That's all. Click. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am willing to teach. Are you willing to learn? Tonight, as I conclude again, thank you for your support. God bless you. God bless your family. The second night of our Yagna is done. Tomorrow is the third night already. And tomorrow night, I hope you come prepared. I hope you are ready. And again, I'll be shooting out some information in the course of the day in preparation for you in the night. I do read your comments. I do read the questions, and I will get back to you. Everybody, please clasp your hands as we bow our heads, as we do final prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this time spent together, spent in prayer. For those that are living near, those that are living far, those that are a little depressed, distressed, dear Lord, we're focusing on positive things in preparation for what is next week, the Diwali. We're preparing for this, for the rest of this month. Dear Lord, there are things here that I never knew. I thank you, dear God, it is by your grace I am learning. Please help me. Please help me to remember. Please help me to regurgitate and teach these things to children and my family and my friends. Help me to talk about it. Bless my mouth and bless my mind to recall it. Together as we conclude, everybody. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Chasika Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Prem se bolo Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai Pawana Putra Hanuman ki Jai Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai 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 Sitaram Sitaram everybody, and from me and Mummy Baba Anushka ji, who is with us behind the camera, have a good night. It was a wonderful experience being here with you, being in your home. God bless you. Until tomorrow, please share the satsang. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need to have 1,000 people. Please help me get to that. All right. Have a good night till tomorrow, everybody. Sitaram.